Thanks very much for tuning in. This is Business Day and I'm Avan Labash. A quick look as to how the markets panned out this Friday before we take you through the top headlines. Well, on account of the negative global cues, you had our markets also which were exceedingly flat with a negative bias. 58.50 played up as a major resistance level all through our trade and we managed to just about cling on to that level by the day's close. Very weak market breadth and by the end of the day it was 58.50 for the Nifty and 19,317 on the Sensex. Lots of big stories coming your way after the top headlines. Uday Kotak, Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Kotak Mahindra Bank, paints a gloomy picture on the economy. He says GDP growth should slip to 5% in the next fiscal, even as the government says there are clear signs of a bounce back. He also asserts that the markets may have run up ahead of fundamentals. General Electric's global CEO, Jeffrey Immelt, says lack of policy clarity is a big concern in India. Also says that the regulatory regime is complicated with scores of agencies overlapping functions. The Mumbai High Court asked Deccan Chronicle to furnish bank guarantees worth over 100 crore rupees to Tata Capital against loan overdues. The court says it will attach Deccan's properties and will freeze the bank accounts if it fails to provide security within the next 4 weeks. Expect more M&As in the Indian skies. Aviation Minister Ajit Singh says the government has received several applications for stake deals. In an exclusive chat with ET Now, he says that a clutch of Japanese firms have expressed interest in entering India. Let's start off with our big exclusive this evening. Uday Kotak, Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Kotak Mahindra Bank, has painted a gloomy picture on the Indian economy. He sees GDP growth slipping to 5% in the next fiscal, even as the government says that there are clear signs of a bounce back. In an exclusive chat with Sandeep Gurumurthy, Uday Kotak believes that the markets may have run up ahead of fundamentals. Let's listen in.
Frankly, I am in the camp which is more, at this stage, 5 to 5.5% growth into 13-14. And more importantly, we should be able to stabilize at those levels and not have the risk of slipping further.
Then believe that markets are actually, in a sense, trading way ahead of fundamentals of the economy?
Economic reality is certainly tougher than what the markets have been saying so far, especially in the last few months. And a lot of our market valuations are dependent on risk on or risk off global trade, which is the issue. Therefore, if there is a risk off overseas, we see Indian markets correct. I personally believe that the reality at this stage is behind where the markets are, or markets are ahead of reality.
So that correction needs to happen in perception as well. You spoke about the risk on, the risk off trade as well, and every now and then there are these jitters to the risk on trade that we've seen play out over a while now. How worried are you about the fact that the risk on trade could take a serious knock and that could in turn affect the sentiment?
No, I think we will go through most of 2013 reasonably okay. There may be a little volatility from time to time, but overall I think loose monetary policy globally is likely for most of 2013. And therefore, even if there are fears of future interest rates going up, I think 2013 we will be able to have a global, comfortable and benign liquidity situation.
So you wouldn't read too much into the minutes of the Fed meeting that seems to have caused a lot of nervousness?
I don't think the Fed does anything in 2013. This is my personal view, and that's the sense one has got in totality. Therefore, we may be coming closer to an end of a loosening cycle, but we are not at the end.
So there's no cause for panic?
No cause for panic. It will be easy money situation globally. But we have to get our act together in the next few months.
In the conference of yours that just got concluded a few days ago, what's the sense that you got speaking to a lot of foreign investors who must have come in as well? They've been the ones pumping in a lot of money into India. Is that confidence still there, or do you see them being a little tentative going forward?
I think the investors are doing a lot more detailing and are focusing bottom up. They are not necessarily very excited at this stage top down. For select companies, attractive valuation and high quality governance that's the kind of companies investors feel comfortable being with.
Straight to the action then that we witnessed for the equity markets today, a very flat session. We did get off to a good start but didn't manage to sustain at those levels, and it was a flat close for the markets, with the market breadth continuing to remain in favor of the losing side. It's of course next week that the markets will really be taking direction from the budget as well as the expiry. Well, for the broader markets, they mirror the way the benchmarks panned out, and it was a very tepid close, although they did manage to see a mild amount of a gain. FMCG and auto, well, those were the two sectors which were on the downside, and on the upside it was real estate as well as the technology basket which managed to hold up. Index losers included a Unilever, Coal India as well as Jaiprakash Associates and Maruti. Some stocks in focus today. HDFC took a big knock as Goldman Sachs downgraded the counter to a sell from a neutral, lowering the target price from an earlier 790 to 740. They said that they expect increased competition to hurt the key profitability, and that the core earnings growth is going to slow down to 15% CAGR over FY13 to FY15. Jet Airways too plummeted as the fresh hurdles for the Jet Etihad deal came out, and reports suggested that Etihad will be putting a host of conditions, and they want to acquire 49% stake, remember, in Jet, and they had asked for representation on board in sync with the shareholding. Lupin did see a good spurt up as it got the US FDA nod for the Suprax oral suspension drug application. Some of the other index gainers today, you had a Bharti Airtel which did very well. In fact, the entire telecom basket was in the limelight on the upside. Remember, today you had the DOT which decided on the incumbents' license renewal applications. Apart from that, DLF was spectacular. You had Wipro as well as Power Grid which gained in the session. What about the week gone by? Well, it was a fairly tepid one at that. You had the Nifty which was down by just about 0.5%. The Sensex took a bigger cut. This time around, the broader markets which have seen deeper cuts otherwise weren't too badly off. DLF, Wipro, Ambuja Cements and ACC, those were your top gainers for the week gone by. On the losing side, though, it was metals as well as auto which was knocked down. So GSPL, Coal India, Tata Motors as well as the Siemens were down and out. In terms of the sectoral indices, well, you had the metals index putting on a good 3.6%. The bank nifty for itself did fairly well, as did the FMCG basket. But in fact, you had the small cap index, as pointed out. It was up by just about 0.5%, and the IT index gained close to 1.8%. Moving on then away from that, global watchers continue to express their concern over India in terms of a lack of policy clarity, which is a big concern for India. Also says the regulatory regime is complicated with scores of agencies with overlapping functions. Let's listen in.
As growth slows to 5%, historically, the government and the private sector say, boy, we better do something, and growth picks up again. And my expectation is that people will go down that pathway yet again. I think things are encouraging. I think it's called CCI. So having an agency that breaks through the bureaucracy, I think that's really needed in the government. I think the people that are being put in these agencies are good leaders that multinationals respect. So I see a number of things, and we'll see how it goes. 2012 was kind of a difficult year in India, but the last 3 months, I see more momentum towards positive reforms. Mr. Chandran is a very well-known guy to most multinational CEOs, well-respected. So we view that as a very positive sign. So we want transparency and consistency are great aspects for investors.
Okay, that was Jeffrey Immelt, Chairman and CEO of GE, talking about some more policy clarity for the Indian economy. Well, moving on from there, and a massive legal victory for the Tatas, the Bombay High Court has slammed Deccan Chronicle and its promoters for unpaid dues of more than 100 crore rupees after the company was sued by Tata Capital. Let's get in Ashwin Mohan, who joins in live from our Mumbai newsroom with the latest details. Ashwin, what are the exact details of the High Court order?
Well, Avan, this is indeed a significant legal victory that has come in for Tata Group's, Tata Capital, because remember, Tata Capital had sued Deccan Chronicle way back in September 2012 for recovery of nearly 101 crores in dues, and they also sought interim relief in terms of immovable properties as well as movable properties, and also against the bank accounts of the promoters. And after 6 months of litigation, they finally managed to secure a favorable order from the Bombay High Court, because today the Bombay High Court has directed Deccan Chronicle to furnish securities towards the 101 crores in dues within a period of 4 weeks. Now, if Deccan Chronicle fails to do this, then what happens is that their properties in Mumbai, they come under the possession of the Bombay High Court, and also the properties and assets of the promoters will also be taken over by the Bombay High Court. That's not all. The order also says that 6 bank accounts of Deccan Chronicle will be attached, and also the Bombay High Court wants Deccan Chronicle as well as its promoters to disclose details of all the assets and properties that they owe, and this has to be done within a period of 2 weeks. Now, if this deadline is missed, then of course Deccan Chronicle and its promoters will face contempt of court proceedings. So therefore, the woes just never seem to end for debt-ridden Deccan Chronicle, and Tatas, after a long drawn litigation, have managed to secure a favourable order today in the Bombay High Court.
Okay, thanks very much, Ashwin, for giving us those details. As you mentioned, the woes certainly don't end for the Deccan Chronicle. Now, in his first TV interview after Tata Sons announced their big bang entry into the aviation sector with Air Asia, Civil Aviation Minister Ajit Singh has said that there are other such deals brewing in the Indian aviation space. He also clarified that he's not opposed to Tata Sons' alliance with the low-cost airline Air Asia. Let's hear him out.
If Tata makes it, yes, everybody will say Tata is a big name in this business. People still remember when he started Air India. So he's associated with Air India's Maharaja image.
So it's not that you did not want this airline to...
No. As I said, we made policy specifically to invite FDI by other airlines. We have said it again and again. We get their management expertise, we get their technical expertise.
So this is pioneering policy by you, its achievement of your regime here. Are more airlines coming like this? Are you aware of more airlines coming like this?
You know, Etihad is talking. There's another airline. Some Japanese airlines are also talking to some people here. So let's see. See, basically it means that the faith in the aviation sector has been revived now. That's why they are talking here. So that's good news for the aviation sector.
Well, moving away from aviation to the auto space, and we understand that Honda's premium hatchback Jazz is on its way out. The Japanese car maker has decided to stop production from next month itself. Kartika Trehan now joins in from our Mumbai newsroom with the reasons why. Kartika, how come this sudden decision?
Well, absolutely. Honda Jazz was not seeing too much of a demand coming in, so the company is planning to stop production of Honda Jazz from next month. We understand that the bookings have been completely stopped at this point in time, so the company is now looking at further halting to production next month and only clearing the bookings which have already been made. This comes because the company's demand for Honda Jazz has dropped to just 400 units per month. The company did look at good demand when the car was launched in 2009. However, in 2011, the company did go ahead and deduct prices of the car because of the high pricing value of Jazz. It did launch in a price of close to about 9 lakh rupees. However, at this point, because of localizations level were increased, so the company decided to slash prices by close to about 2 lakh rupees. So it's come down to close to about 6 lakh rupees. But still, the company did not manage to grasp too much demand coming in there. We understand that the company is planning to use the existing capacity of Honda Jazz for the new Honda Amaze, which is expected to be launched in the month of April. So that's one model that the company is going to focus on.
Thanks very much, Kartika, for giving us all of those details. Well, staying with the auto space then, and Maruti chairman R.C. Bhargav is hoping for a relief on the tax front in the union budget. Speaking to ET Now, the chairman said that the company is also planning a compact SUV, but that the company might not be able to revive its Kizashi in any way. Let's hear what he had to say.
I don't think any further taxation on diesel will come. You know, what we are talking about perhaps is that excise duty on diesel cars. I don't think that's going to happen. It can't happen because diesel price is now going up. Government has announced step-by-step increase in diesel prices till all subsidies are withdrawn. Once subsidies are withdrawn, there's no logic for any taxation. So I don't think that's an issue now.
So one model that I always wanted to ask you about is Kizashi. Are you planning to do anything on that model? Because that was one of your high-end
I know,
sedan
but that model I think is not a model which has sold well. Right. And I doubt if anything much can be done there now.
Right. So would you look at bringing a refreshment or working out in terms of prices or something in that model?
The costs are high because it was a fully imported car. And with the duty structure being what it is, fully imported vehicles, any fully imported vehicle becomes very costly in India. So unless you start making it India, and the volumes in India are not large enough to justify making it.
Let's take it straight to the telecom space. In the Delhi High Court today refused to intervene in the second round of spectrum auction that begins on the 11th of March. The court, however, observed that the telecom department would take a final view on the license renewal applications of Bharti Airtel and Vodafone prior to the auctions. Gauri Dwivedi now joins in with the latest details. Gauri, what are you picking up?
We can expect some amount of clarity as far as those pending applications for renewal of license in the 900 megahertz band is concerned for Bharti Airtel and Vodafone. Delhi High Court today observed that telecom department should take a decision on these pending applications before the 11th of March. 11th of March is when the second round of 2G auctions begin. That also include both 1800 and 900 megahertz band. It's important to note that for Bharti Airtel there are two circles, Delhi and Calcutta, where 900 megahertz expires in November 2014. For Vodafone there are three circles, there is Delhi, Mumbai and Calcutta, where 900 megahertz spectrum expires in November 2014. The Delhi High Court also observed that if these companies wish to participate in the auctions that begin on 11th of March, they are free to do so. No direction by the court has been given on that front. But one thing is clear, Delhi High Court has not stayed the 2G auctions. The auctions will proceed as per schedule. That is 11th of March. They begin 1800, 900 happens simultaneously, after which 800 megahertz auction will take place. No stay on the auction whatsoever. A decision on license renewal will be taken up by the telecom department before the 11th of March.
Thanks very much, Gauri, for giving us those details. But with that, we're timed out right here on Business Day. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it with ET Now.